So apparently I made Facebook mad. I don't know what just happened, guys, but like completely knocked us out. So for those who are catching this via the replay, this is actually part 2. Yes, this is actually part 2. And I don't know what happened, but literally completely knocked me out of the broadcast. Like it froze and then completely knocked me out. I said, how rude, Facebook. That's mean. Facebook is petty.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, do you remember the question? Because
Yes, I remember the question. It was, so
good.
For those who are just joining in, hello. This is Speak Easy. Hey, Tiffany Talks. How? Tiffany. Hey, Tiffany. And so this is literally another interview with an author behind the scenes for Speak Easy. So you guys will catch the replay of this over on YouTube. If you check out my YouTube channel, it's Altovise. But we were talking about the behind the scenes of writing a book. Yolanda Poe is on here, and she's actually finishing up her 3rd book, guys. Her 3rd book. And we were talking some things about behind the scenes. And I said, in the beginning, there is a mindset shift that has to happen between wanting to write the book and actually writing the book. And I said, for me, it was, hey, Tammy. Hey, Dr. Donaldson. How are you? It was that mindset shift of saying, I had actually opened up to my daughter about being molested as well when I was a child. And it was my first time ever telling anybody. And that conversation led me to a conversation later with my daughter where she said that was her most proudest moment for me, was me opening up and talking to her about it. And so that shifted something in my mindset, because if that was her most proud moment, was me letting her know what I had been through and that transparency, then what would that mean for another woman? What would that mean for any woman that I go and I speak for at a conference? What would that mean for any woman who reads my book? What would that mean for any women who get into my courses and into my programs? What would that mean for any of them? It's going to mean that transparency is necessary. That story is necessary. My story is necessary. And so that was the mindset shift for me to go ahead and finish that 1st book. So I said, for you, what was the mindset shift that came about? Because you've seen this journey that I've been on for this like 8-9 years. And you were like, I want to write a book. And I was like so excited. I was like, yes, let's write out the outline. Let's do this. And you was like, wait, I didn't say I was writing a book today. Wait, flag on the play, time out, technical foul.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But then she came to a point where she was like, she sent me a message and she said, I started writing the book. And it's that mindset shift. So explain to them what that mindset shift looked like for you. Thank you guys for the reactions. Thank you for sharing out the broadcast as well.
Well, I'd say for me, it was, I got to come out from under my rock. I've always wanted to help somebody, and I can't stay under a rock, because there's somebody out there that needs me. If you think about that, there's somebody that God has assigned specifically for you to reach. So what happens to that person when you're not where you're supposed to be, when you live in fear? Like, what happens to that person? Not to say that God wouldn't raise somebody else up, but say there's somebody that you were talking to on a regular basis and you were helping them, and then you went through something and they had really started to trust you, and then you fell off. God has to then pull up somebody else to put in your position so that that person can learn to trust that individual. You know how much time that takes to build trust? But because you're hurting, you walk away. I realized that I had some people that I walked away from, and that I have a responsibility. The stuff I talk about is not fun. There's no unicorns and butterflies. What this stuff I'm talking about, it's not there. You don't want to go run to the beach because you've heard me talk. I'm talking about the mess in your mind that you're hiding from people. Molestation, rape. If you're a cutter, if you're a thief, if you're a whore, like you got sex addiction. These are the things I'm talking. These things are not pretty. So no, don't think that I get up in the morning and I go, oh, excited, I'm going to talk about rape today. I mean, no, I realized, right? I realized that I had to make a decision. Was I going to hide under a rock, or was I going to let somebody know that there's life after whatever? In my case, domestic violence.
That says a lot. There's life after. There's life after. Woo! Listen, there's life after. And I think for so many people, that's a statement that they don't hear often. That's a statement that's not shared often. That's a statement that's kind of...
I'm not crazy.
It's a pipe dream. That's a statement that's a pipe dream for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That literally, there's an after for the abuse that I endured. There's an after for the homelessness. There's an after for the divorce. There's an after for losing a loved one. There's an after for all of these different situations. And what I tell people often is that literally what you have to offer somebody is a blood donation. There's somebody somewhere that's waiting for a blood transfusion. Will you let them live or die? Will you be willing to show them your scar so that way the person with an open wound can realize that they can be healed?
Absolutely.
And that's an interesting mindset to be in, and an interesting perspective to be in, because guess what? That means we got to be transparent. That word. That is a dirty T word that people do not like.
That is nasty. I don't like that word.
T word. It's a dirty.
I don't like that word.
Transparent, y'all. I gotta tell people real. I gotta be real with people. I gotta be able to share with them when I'm vulnerable. And that's the thing, is people don't want to show people that you're vulnerable. Guess what? As a writer, I am vulnerable. I'm vulnerable to people's opinions. I'm vulnerable because guess what? Whether I like it or not, people's opinions will determine if they write the book. I mean, if they buy the book, if they read the book, and if they share the book out, regardless of what you have written. People's opinions of it will be whether or not that they go and share out the book. People's opinion will be whether or not they go and give you a review of the book. Because see, people will tell you that they will support you all day long.
Yeah, they will.
But the reality is, when it comes any of my authors in the comments, y'all can say me. The reality of it is that it's a struggle to even get book reviews from people.
Yeah.
It's a struggle just to get book reviews from people. It's a struggle just to get a review at all, business or otherwise. And so we go through this journey, we go through this process, and it's like we put our heart into words and on paper and in this book. And then it's like, okay, now what? Now what? And the other piece of this is that, as an author, you're an entrepreneur. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you are an author, you are an entrepreneur. And if you do not think like an entrepreneur, if you do not think like the CEO of your brand, you will not sell a book anytime after the launch date. You will sell a book on the launch date because your grandmama and your auntie and them, they're going to buy a book because they so proud of they baby schmuckums. They so proud of you. Yes, they are. They so proud. You such a big girl. You such a big boy. But guess what? Outside of that, you're not going to make any sales. And that's reality. Let's be honest. Let's be real. That's
That's
reality.
100.
Is literally, if you are not thinking like a CEO, and that was a conversation that me and Yolanda had to have. If you are not thinking like a CEO, like the CEO of your company or your brand, you will not make any money. Because everything that you do will be, you'll be thinking in the mindset of an employee, thinking that somebody
Yeah.
has to tell you what's going to be best for your business. Ooh,
Ugly.
yeah. Ooh,
Ugly. Ugly.
So let's talk about that conversation that we had, and let them know where that conversation came from, as far as you being the CEO.
Whew. You know what? That whole abuse piece is tight, because when you live through abuse and you're told that you're not pretty, or you're not worth it, or you're at this age and you still can't get it together. When somebody is telling you that, and then you get to the place where I am right now. Now let's be clear. I've worked on my job for 14 years. Boom, boom. Okay. So for someone to tell me that at your age you ain't did nothing, even though it's not true, I still felt like it was true.
Mm.
So she's talking about CEO of a company. Shoot, I had to gain some weight and gain some self-confidence to be CEO of me first, before I could be CEO of anything. So when she says CEO, I was like, okay, I own this. I can do what I want. I can say what I want. I can feel how I want. And I don't have to care how anyone feels, because it's mine. All I have to do is make it sellable. That's it. That's what it meant to me. That was not easy for me, to go from feeling like I was worthless into, I own who I am. I own the confession room. I own marching orders. I own going on, this my third book. I own this. And I do, yeah, I promote it, and I do go out and I talk about it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I had to get to the place where I mentally understood that I own a business. Because again, coming from abuse, at first I didn't even own me. I would call her and just cry. And I would say, I'm coming out. I am. I'm coming out. I am. I did that for 10 years. I'm coming out. Yes, I am. I'm an entrepreneur.
And it was funny because the way the conversation came about was when Yolanda was working on her first book. And so she was excited. She had written her first book, and now it was time for her to choose an editor. It was time for her to choose somebody to do her graphics for her book. And it's like, yes. Okay, now what? What do you mean now what? She said, well, what do I do? I said, you tell them what you want in your book. And she was just like, but okay, well, like for her first book, Mass Darkness, she was like, well, I want a book, I want a mask on the front, and your person with a mask. And I said, okay, well, you let them know that. Well, the first, what she
I
got
did a
back
lousy job.
was not what she wanted. And she called me
Mm-mm.
like almost at the brink of tears, because she said, this is ugly. She said, this is not what I was thinking. And I had to
It's
literally
horrible.
have that heart-to-heart conversation and say, okay, well, tell them that's not what you want. And she was kind of like, but they spent time and okay, you are the CEO. You are the boss. That means you determine what goes and what does not go. Oh, you are so welcome, Justine. You determine what goes and what does not go. You determine what stays. You determine how things are supposed to look, because anything that goes out will be a representation of your brand. It's a representation of your business. And so you being the brand anything you put out represents you. Is this a representation of who you want to be seen as? Is this what you want people to see when they buy the book? If not, then you need to contact the person and let them know that is not what you were looking for. Now, did it frustrate the heck out of her? Yes. She was like,
I didn't know what I was doing.
She said, I don't want to do this no more. Immediately, guys.
I didn't want to do it.
Like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm Gucci. I'm all right. No. She was like, well, I can just go on Canva and maybe put something together. You are the CEO of your brand. What CEO do you know is in the back room, the back office, after they have made it to CEO status, drawing up a book cover? Don't worry. I'll wait. Y'all go ahead. Go and put it in the comments. What CEO you know in the back room drawing up a book cover? Go ahead. I'll wait.
They was getting on my nerves. They was getting on my nerves. I can't. I can't. I just wanted to fire him. I asked him for something. I asked him, I'm stuttering. I asked the man, I said, I want this type of look, this type of mask. This is what I want. And I said, remember the picture that I sent you? I want something like that. You know, he took that picture and it was a picture of a man's mask. And he put it on the woman's body and sent it. He said, he said, you like that? And then he sent me these colors, orange and green and ooh.
But this is the reality of it, y'all.
I said, ugh. He made me so mad. And then I became racist. You know, you learn yourself. Because then I start researching what nationality. Maybe he don't understand. I mean, I just became, all of this nastiness came up out of me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I got issues that I need to pray over. Because I was like, maybe he don't understand. He doesn't seem like he's slow. Then he started talking about how I spent so much time, and then I got angry because then he was making excuses about the money that I had paid. So I said, look, you know what, just give it to me. Just give it to me. So he gave it to me, and I gave him a lousy review. I mean, the review was revolting. I mean, I don't even think, I give him a 2? He was so mad. He was like, she said it was okay, but then she gives me this. He said, so why'd you do that? I mean, he put me on blast. I was like, and I couldn't even respond because God knows if I could have responded, I would have. But the way that they do it, you can't. Once the review is out there.
Yeah, there's no conversation there.
There's no conversation there. But I had to learn the hard way. So this book, I was very, very detailed, severely. I told them what the book was about. I told them the colors that I needed. And colors mean something for those of you that don't know. If you don't know, I encourage you to research, because in the writer's world, colors mean something.
Yes, they do.
Rain means something. Seasons, they mean something. So, you know, for people that read the Bible and go, well, I don't know that book. No, the things that are in there, there's meaning there. In Ecclesiastes, it talks about seasons. Well, in the writer's world, colors mean something. So I gave him colors. I gave them details about the book. I told him that it was inspirational, but it had a what we call worldly twist that had nothing to do with the Bible. I gave him so much detail. When they gave me this, I couldn't believe it. When I sent it to Altovise, I couldn't believe that these people delivered exactly what I needed. That was mind-blowing to me. For someone to be able to be that much of a creative.
But if she hadn't gone through that first time, if she hadn't gone through that first process, she wouldn't have been able to do that. Because she had to learn that, guess what? Everybody's not going to see it the way you see it. And that's how we have to think with our book as well sometimes. Is everybody's not going to see it the way we see it? Because even with how I've written my books, people see something different in it. Even with how I do my classes, people see something different in it. And they don't necessarily see what I put on the paper. They see what they needed from it. And so we got to understand, we got to be we got to be very clear about what it is we want. Now, granted, she found an editor was like amazing. Like she raved about the editor, amazing. But she had a problem with that first book cover. And this is the thing. If she didn't have me as a coach or someone that she could go to that was her coach, then in that moment, that would have been enough for her to quit.
You're right. I don't like to shop. I'm very militant. If I say I want it this way, I want it done. I don't want you, please don't talk to me about what you can't do. That irritates me. Just do it. Okay? I need you to walk over there, pick that up, bring it over here. And if you can't deliver it that way, I get angry. It's up here. And sometimes I forget that everybody doesn't see what I see.
Exactly.
So it was a learning process. It was very hard. And yes, you're right. If I didn't have Altovise, and if I didn't have Reactivate Me, my little bit.ly / Reactivate Me, $25 a month, less than $1 a month, class that I'm in, that accountability class every Saturday at 8 a.m. Yeah, I'm putting a plug in. That class has been life for me. And I'm not a morning person, so I need y'all to understand me. I'm not a morning person.
They be in there with the cameras off, having me look like I'm crazy. They be in there with the cameras off. They got their bonnets on. Some of them
no makeup,
with one eye open, looking at the screen. Yeah, it'd be crazy.
Sleep coming from here.
But no. We're always moving forward, and that was that greatest thing, was that literally that was what somebody needed. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's what somebody needed. And we have to understand that every time we put out a book, every time we put out a book, every time we go and do a live event, we sharing something that somebody needs. We're saving somebody. We're opening up the door for somebody. We're helping to heal somebody. And because we may have completed something that they haven't gone, they're just at the beginning stages of. And, you know, our wounds have healed and we got scabs over our wounds, but they, at the beginning, they got an open wound, or they're about to get an open wound. And you have exactly what they need in order for them to be able to turn around into the opposite direction. But you won't open your mouth. You won't write the book. And so think about it like this. If you don't write the book, and your daughter goes through the same thing you went through, and you all along had the resources, the information for her to not take the same journey that you took, but you took it to your grave, then what was the purpose?
Yeah. What
was the purpose? And, you know, we talked about at one point that, of course, my mother passed away without completing her first book. And I said, you know, the blessing behind it is that I can go back and because I have the book. I haven't opened it. I have not cracked that book open, like, at all. That's going to be a whole other emotional piece. But I have the ability to open that book, look at it, add to it whatever needs to be added to it, and be able to publish that book with her name on it and my name on it. And she will have a legacy. She will have a book that is published. And people go, you know, to their grave with all this information and wisdom and all this understanding. And guess what? They can't help us.
Right.
They can't help us because they took it with them. It's the story of the person that was given the talents. You took your talents and buried it. Literally, your talents is buried. Never to be used by anybody. And some of you right now could be thinking, well, I don't know what I can write about. I don't know. Listen, I've done videos letting you know things that you can write about. You can write about everything and anything. If you're a mom, if you're a dad, if you got kids that went to college, kids that didn't go to college, if you never went to college, if you did go to college, everything and anything can be a book. And people often say, oh, it's a saturated market. No, it's not. It's really not. And even as saturated as the market can possibly be, there is no one that will share your story. So if you never share your story, then how is somebody else supposed to know about it? I'm just saying.
And can I interject and say this? And if you're still broken, that does not mean that you can't write a book. See, I don't want people to think, I don't want anybody to think that you have to wait until you've gone through it.
That's a good one.
To tell the story. Because I'm only 1 year and a couple months out of abuse. I still have nightmares. I still have flashbacks. I still have moments when I have to realize that I'm not there, but I'm here.
Mm-hmm. Even
So
in
it's
the midst
important to understand
of writing
in
it
the
out.
in the middle of it. So please don't think that you can't write the book because you're still going through it and you'll do it later. You know, that's that whole concept that people use when they're trying to get people to accept Christ. They say, well, after this, I'll accept him. After this, I'll go to church. After this, I'll do it. After this, you may not be here. So now is the appointed
Oh,
time.
yeah. Exactly. That whole idea
Now is
that
the appointed
I got to be perfect in order to go to church to get healed. Wait, what? That don't make sense. Jesus ain't say that.
Right. So, I mean, I just, please guys know that I struggle. Yes, I am your wilderness warrior. I do go into those deep, dark places where there's doubt and fear and anxiety and pull you out and show you greatness in you. But I'm also the wilderness warrior. That means I'm in that. I'm in the wilderness. That means that I haven't arrived to any place. That's what that means. So don't think that you
Yes.
have to have arrived in order to produce anything. You can be in the middle of it. What always used to irritate me was to hear the story of the people that made it out, but they never told you what they went through to get out because they didn't want their name to be blackened.
Mm-hmm. They don't want to show people the real them.
No, they don't want people to see the realness. They don't want people to know that they shot up between their toes before they went to go minister. They don't want people to know that.
Ooh, that part.
Because if they do that, then there's those millions of dollars that they're being given, paid, so that they can preach and live in that big house and be in that jet. They'll lose all that.
And you know
So
what?
they don't tell nobody.
One of my favorite ministers is Jesse Duplantis. And it's
Mm-hmm.
because he just as crazy as he want to be. He's just as crazy as he want to be. But some of the things that he talks about, and you're just like, I've always been somebody who's been drawn to people that give a transparent story. Like, it's one thing to say you've learned something from a book. It's something totally different to be able to say, I not only learned it from a book, but I lived it. And so I went through this addiction studies class, and the professor was previously an addict. Now, it's one thing, again, to be in a class where you're learning something from somebody who has not been through the situation, which is why I tell you guys all the time, those of you who are going out here signing up with these coaches and these business coaches and life coaches, and they haven't been through what you've been through. They don't have children, but they want to tell you how you can do your business while being a parent. Mm-mm. Be very leery of that, because they cannot tell you something that they have not been through. And so I'm very particular about the classes that I put out, because I'm not going to give you anything that I haven't done. I'm not going to make a course just to make money, just to get people involved. No. And if it's something that I'm learning along the way and I'm in the process of learning, then I will let you know that. My clients always know it's either we're doing this together or I've done this already and I'm teaching you how I did it. but it's never going to be, oh no, I know this already. I know it all. I'm as smart. I'm as kind. I'm as special. I'm as loyal. I'm as loyal. It's never going to be that. No, it's always going to be, I'm either in the process of learning it with you and we're going through this process together. Like with our mastermind group, we're going through this process together. And so our revenue goal is $5,000 a month. I've made that in a month, but I'm working on making it consistently $5,000 a month. So that was why we're doing the mastermind group together. It's a process. I know how I've been able to make that much in a month. I can teach how I made that much in a month and what I needed to go through in the process. But a lot of y'all are signing up with these coaches and wanting to be a part of these different programs, and you're going and literally sitting in front of people who have not been where you're trying to get to. So you got to be very careful of that, especially if they're not transparent about where they are or where they're going. That part. But, you know, I was in the addiction studies course, and literally he was an ex-addict. And so it gave a completely different perspective to what was in the book, but then what he was telling us from real life. Because real life always takes precedence over what you read in a book. It will. Real life.
Absolutely.
It will always take precedence over what you read in a book. So you have to be very careful for those, you know, like I said, those that are running around. Just be mindful. But I loved it because he was telling us stories. God forbid if he ever see this video. He was telling us a story of a time where he was high. He was with a young lady, and the young lady was in the shower, and he was on the bed. He didn't have any clothes on. And he said literally he heard a rattlesnake. And he saw the head of the rattlesnake at the end of the bed. So what did he do? He ran outside. And where he was in the apartments were in a cul-de-sac. So he ran to the middle of the courtyard and was yelling and screaming about the rattlesnake that was in his room. Naked. That stood out to me. Not because it was funny, because it was funny. And y'all know I have never, those who know me and those who will get to know me, I am Altovise Pelzer, and I do not have a poker face. This face, I will laugh, I will giggle, I don't hold water with this face. The facial expressions all come out. So I was in there cracking up. Because that was the funniest thing since sliced bread. That was funny to me. And he said that literally the police got there and they said, I need you to go get help. They literally got there and that's what they said to him. I need you to go get help. Now, mind you, because he was screaming about there being a rattlesnake in the room, the girl that was in the bathroom is still in the bathroom because she's scared to come out the bathroom because there's possibly a rattlesnake out there. Hilarious. But it stood out, that story has stood out to me until this day. And that was when I was back in college, back in 99. Listen, we're hopping up on almost 20 years that story has stayed with me, and it's because of the transparency of it. Some of y'all don't realize that from your transparency, it will stick out in somebody's mind, and somebody may take something from that story and be able to grow, be able to learn, be able to achieve something greater just from that one that you share. Just from that one book that you publish, somebody may get something. That part. That part. They may get something. And we get so scared because we don't want to be transparent. Let's be honest. Let's be real. We scared to be transparent.
No. I can't imagine if I saw me now a couple years back, I wouldn't even believe this is happening. Because you wouldn't, one of my friends told me, they said, Yolanda, you look like you okay. You look fine. I don't even understand. And I'm listen, I was going through it. I mean, like really going through it, like struggling it with all this emotional stuff. I mean, and it's in the book. I'm not giving you no secret sauce. You want to know what it was? Buy the book. I'll be back. I'll tell you when you can get it. But I was really struggling, like really, really struggling because I wanted to make sure that no one saw Yolanda.
Mm-hmm.
Because Yolanda, listen, I'm flawless. My makeup is always on, hair always done, nails always glistening. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I don't have no stress. What's wrong with y'all? I works for such and such company. I do such and such. I'm a minister. I got babies everywhere. It's like, listen, I'm like the little old lady in the shoe. I got so many cheering around, I don't know what to do. I went to just one funeral. And one of the gentlemen looked at me and said, you have a lot of children. I said, yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do. Ready to fight? On cue. Crazy. A whole bunch. One group and it's just 11. That's just one group. We ain't even talking about the other group. But I never wanted anyone to know that I was hurting. My kids didn't even know. None of them, not even the ones that lived in the house with me, the ones that I gave birth to, because I didn't want nobody to know. So this transparency, I have learned that me being transparent, Altovise, has freed some folk. I've got some inboxes. I've had people that I've talked to about the book that has just literally stopped their day. Like, where can I get your book?
Yeah.
Or we would go off on another conversation and would say, I'm sorry, I have to revisit. What?
That's it.
And I'm thinking, I'm like depressing the world and everybody's ready to jump off a bridge and they don't want to hear nothing from me because everything I'm saying is negative. But it's my transparency that has freed some people.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people say, you know what? I thought I had already dealt with such and such, like until I listened to you live. And I realized that I haven't dealt with nothing. So yeah, it's important, guys. We gotta be that transparent thing. When I think about my friends, and how at certain times they trusted me enough to tell me something. Can you imagine if you put that type of transparency in a book, the thousands of people that we could free if we would just stop being so prideful? Ugh. No, it ain't easy. What you think I'm sitting here? It ain't easy. Are you crazy?
And it's crazy because I've had it. So I had a moment when I was still working full time. For those of you who have been following me for a while, you know, again, this is part 2, part 1. Catch part 1 as well. But this is part 2 of this interview. And for those who have been following me for a while, you know that literally I just came off of a full-time job and I'm working for myself full-time. But when I was
Since
working
June,
at a
right? Since
job
June, right? Since June.
May, since May.
May.
And so literally I had a woman come into the store and she said to me, she was looking kind of frazzled. And I've always been that person where people have always been able to come and open up to me. I don't know what it is. I guess it's written across my forehead, friendly or something.
Talk to me.
Yeah, like everybody comes and tells me everything that's going on with them. And so she kind of was just like, she looked at me and she looked like she didn't want to say anything. And then she just started talking. And she was telling me about how she had just saw her best friend get abused by her boyfriend. And she had just made sure that she got to the hospital okay. And she didn't know what to do. And so she was kind of in there and she was just kind of there because she didn't know where else to go at the moment. She didn't know what else to say. She didn't know what else to do. So she kind of had to go while they were working on her. And then she was going to go back. but she just kind of had to walk away for a second. And she said, I just don't know what to do. Do I say something? Because I don't think she's going to give them his information. And she's going to say it's an accident or something, yada, yada. And I said, well, you have to do what's going to be best for her. And in that instance, you know, those who have been through domestic violence, you can't make anybody want to leave a situation. No. You can't make them want to tell on someone. You can't make them want to leave. It hurts. It hurts a lot. But you cannot pick them up and take them out of the situation, because all you will do is you will cause them to shut down and not seek help at all. And so,
or we'll go back.
Exactly. And so we had that conversation, and here it is again. This woman didn't know me from a can of paint. She didn't know me at all. She didn't know if I was somebody who knew the person or anything like that. She didn't know. But it was freeing to her to be able to open her mouth and talk to me about it. And it was something about me that made her feel that way. That's powerful.
Yeah, that is.
That's powerful. I've had people say to me, I don't know why you're still working there. You're supposed to be speaking on stages. Yes, the little introvert, this one, you're supposed to be speaking on stages. I don't know why you're still there. Understand that you have something very valuable to offer the world. And so with me saying that, I'm going to ask Yolanda to tell you guys where you can find her, where you can find her books again. And then we're going to let you guys go, because y'all need to sleep on that. Because Mondays, some of y'all is dreading right now going to that job. Going to that job. Hey, Charles. Going to that job in the morning. But I really need you to understand that you have worth value. That's something so valuable that there's somebody waiting for it so they can live. And so, Yolanda, give them your information so they know where to find your books and how to get in contact with you.
Okay. Mass Darkness is bit.ly/masked, like mask, darkness. That's MASKEDARKNESS. Capital M, please.
Capital N, please.
That's another thing. When you make these bit.ly links, and you'll understand what I'm talking about, make sure that everything's lowercase so you don't have to keep telling people what to do with their links. Had I knew it, I would have made sure that all the letters was lowercase. The second book is bit.ly/this Ole House. That's THISOLEHOUSE. That one talks about cleaning your physical house as well as your spiritual house. That is only an ebook. Mass Darkness is in paperback, and it's also an ebook. Hatred of Love is coming out this week, but I had to make some adjustments. I had to make some changes to it, but it's coming. I promised it would be finished today. At least I have the book cover. So the rest of it's coming. I'll keep you posted. I won't leave you hanging. I will be showing up this week. But understand, I'm trying to get the book out. So I'll try to give you a little bit of time to let you know when I'm coming through.
Yes. And for those who are catching this via the replay, via either on YouTube or on Facebook, if you're on Facebook, her links, she's going to come back and put her links into the comments of both part 1 and part 2 of the videos. And then also for those of you who are catching this on YouTube, if you go to the description box, her information, including her social media handles, will be all in the description box, so that way you can get in contact with her. And again, for those of you that have been wanting and wondering and waiting and thinking and trying to figure out how you can write your book, you want to go to bit.ly/speak loud. And once you go there, look for the Write the Book This Weekend. It is currently $10, guys, $10 for you to be able to write a book this weekend. You'll make that back with selling just 1-2 books. You'll make that back. But Sometimes we need the support. Sometimes we need the motivation. Sometimes we need the accountability. And so you heard Yolanda talk earlier about this Reactivate group. What's Reactivate? Well, Reactivate is a weekly accountability call where we come together every week at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning to work on our goals. We're actually doing our first meetup, our first live meetup, where we will be doing our profit planning session for first quarter. That is at the end of this week. It's actually on Sunday. Super excited about that. bit.ly/RM meetup. Looking forward to that. And like I said, we got some things to do. So you really have to think about, what am I doing? How am I doing it? But if you want to get that book done, bit.ly/speak loud. I am Altovise Pelza, your host of Speak Easy. Thank you so much for catching this. And you can contact me by going to bit.ly/talk to Altovise, or by email at contacts@altovisepelzer.com. Thank you guys. And don't forget to press it out.